Welcome to the NIGHTYAP podcast.
We're your hosts, Regina and
Raven. And today we're going to be talking about this insane catfishing story where this mom was catfishing her.
My phone is, I just got a strange text.
What did it say?
It said, is never going to want your when he can have a delectable piece of like mine.
Oh, wow. That's odd. Maybe it's an ex or even a wrong number. I don't know. People be bored.
Bored? Wrong number? I don't know. They use his name.
You know, you two have a strong relationship. I think you should just ignore it for real.
You know what? I'm just gonna call them and see what happens.
Oh, that's weird. My phone tripping. You know, sometimes it does that when
Raven,
Mercury's in Gatorade or whatever.
that was your ringtone.
Nuh-uh.
You know what? I'm gonna call it again.
Okay. Wait, before you get mad, just know I was doing it to make your relationship stronger. It's like reverse psychology. Because if you could survive a text like that, y'all could survive anything.
So you called me a for emotional development?
Yeah. Because what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Insane.
So that's basically what happened to this little white girl from Michigan. Her name was Kendra Licari, and October 2020 was a strange time for her.
So Lauren started getting these weird texts, and it was kind of weird because she didn't have many friends. She was a pretty shy girl. And her boyfriend, on the other hand, he was a very popular guy. There was a Halloween party going on. There was word that he got an invite, but she didn't get an invite. And then all of a sudden she gets a text talking about Owen gonna break up with you. And she's looking at Owen like, what you know about this?
Owen didn't know what was going on. Nobody knew what was going on. And that was strange because they lived in a town of like 500 people, was it?
Closer to like 300. Like it's less than 350.
Yeah. They had like one school, preschool, all the way to
12th grade. All in one building.
So there weren't too many options as far as who that could be, but nobody knew what was going on. Nobody.
So it kind of settled down for about 11 months. And then 11 months later, randomly, her and Owen start getting texts again. And these texts were pretty damn brutal. They came for her for everything. They said she was trash at basketball. They said she had a flat ass. She ain't got no titties. Ooh. Owen don't like her because she don't give him no BJs. Like, these were insane texts for a 13, 14-year-old girl to be getting.
So what do they do about it? They went to their parents got together, everybody was very disturbed, and for some reason, they didn't want to change the number.
They said it wasn't fair to change the number and their kids shouldn't have to change the number, which I don't agree with. Like, change the number and then give out the number to who needs it, and then you could cross out by elimination, like who...
You know what?
Who's catfishing my baby?
I bet that was Kendra's idea. I bet Kendra said, let's not change their number. Why would we do that? So,
yeah, that's messed up.
But after more encounters, they went to the school, and the school didn't think that they could do much about it besides observe and see if they could figure out who might be sending the text. It was clear that whoever was sending these messages to these kids had their eyes on them, like knew what they were up to, knew what they were doing, knew what they were wearing, knew who they were with. The school initially thought it must be another student.
Yeah. I know one of the things that the principal did try to do, he told Lauren anytime she received any text to let him know. And he would essentially look at all the cameras around the school and see what students happened to be on their phone, maybe in the hallways. He would ask the teachers immediately, like, you see anybody on their phone? And that went nowhere.
They pretty much had no one that they could reasonably blame, so they started to put unreasonable blame on other students. There's another kid who was likely to have done it because she was a little mean, and she lost her friends because I guess nobody wanted to play around with her after that, but it wasn't her. They thought it was Owen's cousin who was bullied by other girls at the school. They thought she would have a reason, a motive for treating Lauren this way, but it turns out it wasn't her either. This went on for, I want to say, like 18 months.
And the whole time they were thinking it was one of the students Regina had mentioned. Her name was Chloe. Even she was friends with Owen, but even the way he described her, he said she wasn't a mean person, but she wasn't nice by any means. I feel like that's a terrible way to describe your friend, by the way. If that's how my friends describe me, I think I would have to do some self-reflection.
They said that she was constantly getting into all kinds of drama with all the other girls, and pretty much multiple people had complaints about her behavior in a variety of circumstances. So they pretty much said, it for sure is this girl. When they wanted to accuse Chloe, they decided, let's make this simple. Let's just get her phone. Let's just go through it and see if there's anything incriminating on here. They went through it, didn't find nothing. Chloe starts talking about how they didn't find nothing. And sure enough, this person sends a message to Lauren, to Owen, I was gonna call him Oren, stating they tried to scrub my phone, they didn't find anything, haha, or something like that. Pretty much making it seem like, it's me, it's Chloe. I did that.
Yeah, they were making her look real stupid. And another thing was that made her seem even more guilty was the fact that her father was a sheriff in the town.
As far as how it affected Lauren, they did say that she had a hard time wanting to go to school for a while. They did say that she did have some body image issues occurring. And she eventually did have to break up with Owen, who she did say that she really did like.
She was very heartbroken about the whole thing. And she already didn't have a lot of friends. So Owen really was like her main support system throughout all of that.
She did start to have trust issues because a lot of the texts made it seem like he was involved sexually with another lady, another individual. And after a while, because of how believable the texts were and how accurate they were, Lauren started to question, like, what's really going on, Owen? And he pretty much, he ain't had nothing to do with it.
And that's a lot emotionally for a boy that young. Like, grown men can't even handle their women's emotions. So I can't imagine a 15-year-old. Like, he's probably like, all right, like, this is a lot for me. So I could understand why he would break it off. Like, maybe if the text slowed down, then we could pick this up later on. But as of right now, this is too much for me. Yeah, I got midterms coming up.
So they broke up, thinking that would end things, and it truly did not. So I guess their slew of issues continued. As far as Owen goes, he tried to keep to himself. I think he continued playing his sports. The one thing that his parents could say about his behavior was that he definitely seemed more angry. They said he would play more aggressively, almost like he wanted to release his emotions without harming others. He did eventually find another girl that he was interested in. Immediately when he started to tell other people about her, like his parents, that individual started to get harassed as well.
Yeah, she started texting Owen like, hey, my mom's getting these weird texts. And immediately Owen was like, you got to be kidding me. I thought this was over. And nah, it's like, this reminds me of Scream, like Ghostface.
You like scary movies?
Like, this motherfucker just keep popping up. Like, just die already. Like, I gave you what you wanted. I broke up with Lauren. You said she was a whore bae. She didn't give me no blowjobs, yada, yada, yada. Now I got this new shawty. She ain't even from around here. And you bothering her too? Yeah. Like, slow down.
But after that, Owen felt like he couldn't really get with anybody else. And as far as Lauren's family goes, they were also dealing with their own hardships. Apparently, during the course of this text message scandal, they had to move houses 4 times.
Because Kendra, Lauren's mom, she was in charge of finances. I read in one of the Cut articles that Lauren's father, his coworkers would often joke with him, saying like, oh, Kendra's your sugar mama. She handles all the finances. She's the breadwinner of the family. And he would just kind of laugh it off because he was like, I got a good woman. She gonna make sure we financially good. And turns out, y'all were not financially good. You should have been a little more involved, homie, because...
No, for real. I keep thinking about it. I'm like, how he just not pay attention to what was going on with his bills? For how many... I mean, you moved houses 4 times and you still didn't think, like, let me take a peek? Let me get some access to that. He lost all his possessions in one of the moves. And I guess maybe I'm different in that way where I would for sure be like, I gotta know what's going on. I have to. Even if I trust you, I still need to know what's going on.
Yeah. Kendra was definitely very manipulative, I feel like, in that aspect, because she controlled everything and she just kept on lying, making up excuses as to why they had to move houses. I know at a certain point they had moved to a log house, but they had been evicted from their previous house. But she was like, oh, well, we need repairs on it, so we're just going to move to this house temporarily, not even letting her husband know that they were actually being evicted, which is crazy. I don't know how you could not know you're being evicted, but not my relationship. So,
I can't say too much. I don't want to be too critical, but I guess I don't know how Kendra was able to get away with it. I really don't. And I think that's sad, like you want to have that level of trust in your partner. Like you want to trust that they will make sure no matter what, you're straight, everything's good, and that they wouldn't sabotage that for your whole family. Mind you, they have a whole child that's going through it in school, so all the more reason that she wouldn't really take that as a moment to do something stupid. But she did. She did several stupid things. So as far as what the parents decided to do about it, they did contact the school administration, and for whatever reason, they spent a long period of time, like almost a full 2 years worth, of not really being able to get down to the bottom of anything. Eventually, she decides, we got to go further than this, and they take it to the FBI. And pretty much it takes them pretty quickly to locate the IP address to who was actually sending these texts. And what do you know? It's a lady who had their whole family evicted and still lied after that.
A lady who lost her job but never had one, Miss Kendra.
And they show the body cam footage in the documentary.
You gotta have a conversation, and I have a search warrant for your devices.
That part of the documentary was wild. This girl trying to be cheeky and give them her one phone, because she got multiple, and her computer.
Every message that went to the kid, your number, even though it was being hid, showed up every single message.
My number?
Yep.
And she was like, I don't know what you're talking about. What do you mean? They were like, we traced the IP address to you. And then that's when she starts to be like, okay, well, yeah, you caught me. And she basically like dry confessed to harassing her daughter.
The thing is, as she pretty much pleaded with the cop not to tell her daughter, and the daughter comes in and the cop's not even, I guess out of respect of the family dynamic, is trying not to tell the daughter that it was her mom. And the daughter is just being comforted by the mom. And to me, that just felt like really crazy. Like, lady, the reason for all of your troubles is literally kissing you right now.
Like, yeah, it was kind of weird because like she was all hugged up on her, like kissing her, like mwah, mwah, mwah. And the cops are like, Lauren, your mom got caught up in some stuff. Like it was very vague stuff. If I was Lauren, I would have been confused. Like, what are you talking about? Like, Lauren, can you speak English?
She didn't seem like she was trying to understand what he was saying for real. She was just sitting there on her phone or something. And then her dad comes home, and that's when he gets angry, obviously, because he finds out that Kendra had been lying, not about everything, but about having a job. So immediately he's ready for a divorce at that point.
Daddy was right, because he said, y'all gonna have to make sure she leave with her parents, because she can't stay here tonight. He was not messing with it. Once he realized that she was the cause of his daughter's pain for the past 2 years, the reason that he lost all his stuff, the reason they've been bouncing between all these homes, he was over it. He was ready to dump her to the side. I feel like he was over her before anyways. And that was definitely just the cherry on top.
I really feel for the dude. You know, like it's really unfortunate when you see somebody that does the right thing and opens up their heart to pure experiences like building a family with someone, and then that's what they have to deal with. You know, like I don't really feel like anybody deserves to be subjected to that kind of treatment, you know? And what's crazy is I still don't feel satisfied in an answer as far as why she did all of these things. Like, she was just lying out her ass, like, for years, it sounds like, about the craziest of things. And What answer did she say? Why she did it?
She was sexually assaulted when she was 17. And the closer that Lauren got to that age, she was afraid for Lauren. And to me, that just don't make no sense at all. Like, you got sexually assaulted, you had your life ruined at 17. So you decide to destroy your daughter's confidence at 13, 14, 15?
Yeah.
Like, huh?
Like, at any point, did she try to directly convince her daughter to not be with Owen? Did she make any like direct conversations about that? Because I feel like that was an option. You know, if she didn't want her to be with Owen, she could have just said, "Hey, I don't want you to be with Owen." Did she say that at any point to her?
No. One thing that did stick out to me in the article, they were talking about some text between Kendra and Lauren. I guess they were at a gymnasium or something, and Kendra started texting Lauren. She said, "Go sit next to Owen right now. Go sit next to him right now. You're pissing me off. You're fucking making me mad." And it was just kind of really weird. It seemed she was very obsessed with Owen and wanting to involve herself with anything that had to do with Owen. And she was even reported to have taken Lauren's phone for her and texted Owen like, "I love you." And why would you do that?
Does it have to do with Owen? Is there an infatuation there with Owen?
No, nothing like that.
Did he treat Lauren bad? I mean,
I would think that the most logical explanation is that she probably actually did have some kind of infatuation with Owen. And she also probably had some like weird excessive attachment to her daughter's life. Maybe she felt like she didn't get the same chances and she wanted a second chance through her daughter.
Yeah, that was another thing that I had picked up from the article, because she was one of Lauren's coaches. She would go to the games and she'd be talking to the other parents and just venting about the whole situation. And they would try to give her advice of like things that she could do to alleviate the problem, but she wouldn't take anybody's advice. And then she would come to the game the next day and still talk about the problem. And at a certain point, people are like, okay, like she's kind of attention hungry. So I think that's one of the reasons that a lot of people around the town, like there was whisperings that like everybody felt like Kendra had did it. But for some reason, the cops and the FBI, they're like, no, like a mom wouldn't do that. But Kendra's not an ordinary mom. So
the other possible explanation as to why Kendra did this, the school principal was pretty much coining this a case of cyber Munchausen by proxy syndrome. Did I say that wrong?
Yeah, it's kind of like the Gypsy Rose situation where her mother was intentionally making her sick just so she could reap the benefits of everything that Gypsy would get. So it was kind of like that with Kendra and Lauren. Yeah. So, of course, all the parents felt bad for Lauren. So they'd be talking to Kendra, giving her attention. And homegirl would just be soaking all of this attention up and wasn't really doing nothing for her daughter.
I think that makes sense, especially when you consider the fact that she was unemployed and clearly relied on for a lot of things. So I think maybe she also felt like she wanted to be useful. That's like the root of the syndrome, right? They want to feel needed.
Yeah. And I think she definitely got that from Lauren because, like we said earlier, Lauren didn't have a lot of friends. So at the end of the day, she would come home and she would rant to her parents and her mom would be that safe haven for her, not knowing her mom is her main op.
That's just crazy to think about. You think she was like, I'm bored today. Let me send a bad, crazy text to my daughter and watch her cry. Because, like, that's essentially what happened left and right. They said she sent thousands of messages. They had a big, thick booklet full of all the texts she had sent to her daughter for the past almost 2 years. It's just crazy to me that they're probably eating dinner and this lady is, like...
She probably had, like, automatic, like, texts to be sent to her daughter. So, like, it didn't look weird or anything. Like, all right, send this in 5 minutes. And, like, sitting right next to her. Crazy work.
She didn't work. That she had all the time.
No, that's what I'm saying. She really just, I don't know. If she wanted to feel needed, she had all this time to just sit there and think about all the various ways she could create that need, you know? And it seemed almost like, if you ask me, an addiction of sorts, because I don't see how you do it that many times for that long. And I think she also, if they didn't discover that she had other devices, she probably would have continued, if you really think about it. And I think that's also why she was trying to like hide it a little bit because she wasn't really quite done. She wasn't quite finished. And I guess it's worth noting that the first text that she got, apparently she didn't send them.
I find that like to be one of the oddest parts of it, because Kendra swears up and down that first text around Halloween was not her. She said 11 months later, she was still thinking, oh my gosh, who could it be harassing my daughter? Let's find out by sending even more threatening texts to her. Explain that logic to me, because I still don't understand it.
One thing that I was curious about is why she would even choose to be in the documentary. So because she was sitting there proudly talking about her perspective and her reactions to the text, that's also what threw me off.
Yeah,
Her
she was sitting there like she wasn't the one sending them.
Yeah, she was really making it out to seem like she was like a victim. So I was like, okay, like she a victim with her daughter. Like, all right, cool. Like she was just trying to make sure her daughter was straight. I didn't think that she was also the one who, like, why be in a documentary?
She was crying. Wow.
Yeah.
She's talking about how her daughter's hurt.
Yeah, she was crying throughout the documentary. So my question is, why would she choose to be in something like that? And from what I found online, apparently the director stated that her participation was never a certainty, and for much of the filming, she wasn't involved, but she did get released like before they were wrapped with filming, and she agreed to be a part of it. So they didn't even plan on having her in it.
I think Kendra is just very narcissistic, and she likes any attention, good or bad. Because I was on Reddit and people are like, they really had her like filming those scenes like of her in the window with the rain coming down, or her in a dark living room texting like this, looking like the Hunchback of Notre Dame. But it's like, that's insane. To really sit there and do all that, and knowing what you did, knowing that people are going to drag you.
Yeah. And then after she spent time, she decides to go right back to her daughter and say, we have to save our relationship and have a bond. And I'm like, I think she's just going to do more crazy stuff.
Lauren did not want immediate contact with her, like after her mom got released from prison, because I think she was finally like realizing like the depth of what her mother had did to her. And she was like, that's not cool of you at all. Because in the entirety of the documentary, it was seeming like Lauren was still head over heels with her mother. Like they had a really, I'm not going to say a bad bond, but it was like a trauma bond or something that they had. It did not seem healthy at all.
Yeah. They were enmeshed. I would say they had somewhat of an enmeshment going on. And yeah, and that would check out for the Munchausen syndrome. Like it makes a lot of sense that they would have that kind of dynamic if that's what was happening. Especially if her mom was sending text to her directly saying like, what'd you say? You're pissing me off. Like that kind of anger just feels like weird. Yeah, I think they were definitely a little bit enmeshed with each other.
How do you think you would react if you were in Lauren's shoes? Like, let's say it's after the 11 months and you start getting texts again. Like, what would your move be?
Oh, I don't know. Like, what could you really do if your parents forced you to keep going to the same school, forced you to keep the same number, and force you to just move on? Like, what choice do I have but to keep going to school? Really? What would you do?
I feel like at that age, I was a big troll myself. So I feel like I would have had fun with it. Like I would have played with them back for a certain time. But I feel like eventually like those texts probably would have started getting to me like, all right, like this was funny like the first few times. But like now you saying some hurtful stuff. Like you saying I got a flat ass. You saying that you don't want me because I'm not giving blowjobs and all this other heinous stuff. Like
this lady, I wonder what kind of advice she was giving her daughter if she felt comfortable enough texting her that kind of stuff, you know? Like, you're telling your 14-year-old that she should be giving her boyfriend what? What?
Yeah, and those texts were raunchy and nasty. Talking about his big peen and my big creamy pussy. Like, I can't imagine texting that to a minor.
No.
And I also want to know why she wasn't charged with like sexual harassment of a minor, because those texts, they got so descriptive, and I felt like they left like the cute ones in the documentary because they just kept getting worse.
I don't know how she got away with just what was it? 8 months?
I think it was just like, she got sentenced to like 15 months, but then she only served like 9.
How is her husband like now? You know, like, does he talk to her?
Oh, he divorced her
Mm-hmm.
immediately.
That's good for him. Like, I really hoped in that body cam footage that we saw where he said he was done, that he was done for real. Because that's not the kind of stuff that you should, like, keep. Like, she lied about way too many, like, significant things and way too closely together, you know? Like, she really had no kind of boundary.
Yeah, that's not something you can just simply get over.
Yeah. But I guess the only other thing that I would have done is maybe try to see if my parents would get me like a bodyguard or something, you know? Because at the end of the day, I feel like, okay, like you're sending me these texts, but it's just messages. Like, if you really about it, surely we'll see each other at some point.
If you bout it, get him up. Get him up. I mean, you bout it, bout it.
Mm-hmm.
So let me just have a bodyguard.
Or even
time.
just like asking if you could do online school. Because like, if I'm not leaving the house, who's texting me? You look ugly today. I'm still in my pajamas. So you got to be staring at me through the window. Like,
oh my goodness.
But
that's so crazy.
Kendra probably wouldn't have agreed to that because Kendra ain't had no job. So they both would have been home looking at each other.
Discovered real quick. If that's probably why they didn't let her do homeschool. Because honestly, that makes the most logical sense. If school can't do nothing about the harassment and your kid continues to get harassed at the school, like, take her out. That's what makes sense to me. Take her out of the school. So I feel like the reason why they didn't do that and the reason why they didn't change the number, the reason why they didn't do anything that made sense logically is because it was Kendra all along. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Kendra wouldn't have let her escape. Not that easily.
And I'm surprised if Kendra really stopped. I'm like, nah, she still got to get her fixed somehow. So we should keep up with Kendra because I feel like she's sending somebody a nasty text somewhere. I think it was an addiction. And
it's funny because I guess when she was being sentenced, she was saying that she was grateful that she got caught because she finally got to stop harassing her daughter. So that means she would have never stopped harassing her daughter if she never would have got caught. Like, she would still be texting her daughter nasty stuff today.
And I don't understand because, like, who's making her do this? You know, like, what do you mean you're glad you got arrested? Why couldn't you just stop? Why did it have to go that far?
You're telling her own daughter to kill herself.
Oh, yeah. That's crazy. We didn't say that once.
Oh, yeah.
How you gonna tell your daughter to kill yourself?
Because I knew she wouldn't actually do it.
She's like, it sounds crazy, but I know Lauren and I know that she wouldn't do something like that. I'm like,
you don't know. I hate when parents act like they know especially like their young kids, like there's a whole separate side of your child that you will never see. Like, you don't know that baby.
I mean, that's also what makes me think that maybe she thought they were like all one type energy where she's like, well, I wouldn't do that. So Lauren was straight. Just assume like her and Lauren's thoughts and behaviors and decisions are intertwined.
Yeah. Do you think like when she was like comforting Lauren, she'd be like, baby, don't listen to that. Like, you know your ass fat. Like, you think she was like telling her inappropriate shit?
Nah, I feel like she was saying like, it's okay, mommy's here. But make sure you
mommy's flat too,
just in case. Would we forgive our mothers if they did this to us?
I love my girl, but I don't know if I could get over that. Like, we would definitely. I'm out to keep you at a distance, girl. Don't come near.
Because during the trial, they wanted Lauren with her father, but she wanted to be able to talk to Lauren. And Lauren's like, yeah, I want to talk to my mom. What? Would you?
It makes sense that in moments of distress, she's still trying to look for her mom because she's made herself that, like, hero this whole time. So many times in a row. Me, however, I need some time to process alone. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to just hear my mom sent me, like, a bunch of texts telling me to kill myself and then be like, but mom, what do I do? You know, like, no. I'm going to be like, you know what, mom? I think I'm going to have dinner at Dad's house. That's what I would do.
In the documentary, Lauren was saying, yeah, afterwards, mom just started talking like everything was normal again. Mm-hmm. So she didn't really feel bad afterwards. What do you think?
I don't think she felt bad, like, when she got, when she was getting her time and after the time was served. I don't think she felt bad at any of those points. Her energy was honestly kind of, like, dull. Like, in the body cam footage, it didn't even seem like she really was under any kind of stress, despite the fact that her husband was saying, you can't come back here. Make sure she leaves, despite the fact that her daughter was
she tried to fight it a little bit. She said, no, I need to be here for Lauren.
There was that. But
you haven't been here for Lauren for 2 years.
Like, you did some crimes, lady, and that's your reaction just to be like, with her daughter, you know, like, that's just, it's weird to me. You're about to get a divorce. You're about to be homeless. Like, and she didn't have much to say. She didn't say, like, I feel so bad. I'm so sorry. I knew it was wrong. You know, she didn't say any of those things. She was just like, okay, you can search the house or whatever. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know. I know at one point she was trying to say that, like, it was a relatable thing. She's like, people are always committing crimes everywhere. Like, you don't know how many people have just gotten away with it, you know? And I'm just like, I don't understand, lady, and I will never understand. That is crazy.
Insane for real. Because her comparing that to drunk driving, like, oh, we all do it. La, 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 la. Lady, we don't all get behind a vehicle drunk and drive and kill somebody or kill ourselves. Like, that's not normal. And what you did is not normal either. Yeah. Neither of these things should be normalized.
Yeah.
Drunk driving is not harmless. Mm-hmm. Harassing your teenage daughter for 2 years with the filthiest, dirtiest text in the world is not a harmless crime.
Mm-hmm.
Hell, she was harassing half the freshman class.
Anything to tell the viewers?
If you're getting random text, make sure it's not your mom. Funnily enough, that happened with my mom. Not like this. I should say, my mom had another phone and she was texting me thinking she was all funny. I didn't think it was her, but it was.
Your mom literally did that.
Yeah, but she didn't tell me to kill myself. She wouldn't do that.
She was your secret admirer.
Yeah, she was just saying that she thought I was beautiful or whatever, you know, secretly. But
okay, Lauren. Not you excusing it.
Regina Licari.
Oh my goodness, no. Okay, so any closing remarks?
Closing remarks. Fuck Kendra Licari. All my homies say that.
Yeah. So sleep tight, y'all.
And have a good night.
Make sure you wait, I was waving backwards.
Y'all gotta work on the ending of
Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, all that stuff. You know, share our links. You know, we never mind, let me leave that out.
What were you gonna say?
I was gonna say we trying to blow up.